All right, hitting a button.
Okay.
I'm Pat.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
No William.
No, William. Sorry.
Thought we were gonna talk about the Nuggets.
Not too much to say about it.
Oh,
They
okay.
won. They swept the series, and
They sent the whiniest man in all of the NBA back home.
yes.
Yeah. So back home, dude.
Yeah,
See
they
you next year.
they surely did. So, although I didn't hear it from William directly, I imagine that he's positively thrilled.
Yeah. So who they play next?
To be determined, it's either going to be Miami or Boston.
Who do you think it's gonna be?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's the problem here is I didn't pay enough attention to the season to make it.
Oh, I paid no attention to the season. So yeah, your opinion is definitely worth more than mine.
Okay, well, I think I watched maybe 6 games this whole year, and they
Okay.
were all Denver, so I don't really
Yeah. All
have
right. Fair.
much of a perspective. But yeah, this is the thing that usually I would have trusted like Sports Center to answer for me, but I don't watch that, and my life is not worse from not having seen any sports analysis on cable TV.
No, I've been watching baseball, but that's it. So the
Uh,
Rockies are fucking terrible. So they are bad. It's not even June. You know?
uh-huh.
But I still watch baseball, man. I like the pitch clock, so it has grown on me. Um, the Orioles are having a good start. The
um,
Rays came out pretty tough.
yeah, the Rays came out like super tough. If I recall, like of the first like 18 or like 19 games, they lost like three.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah, no, they're head and shoulders in the division.
yeah,
So I mean, you know they're gonna come down eventually.
yeah, I thought it was starting to level out.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting there. But the Orioles are actually looking pretty good. So I did watch Noah's game the other day. Um, but no, I like the pitch clock.
Or it must have
So,
been coincidence. There's no way that you went out of your way to watch just an Orioles game
no, I was on at the bar.
at home.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
yeah,
all
no.
right. It
They're
was
like,
good.
hey,
It
you want
was
to
good.
watch golf? And I was like, no, those other guys are here. Turn on baseball game. They were like, which one? I was like, what? First one you can
Pick
find.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, first one
yeah.
you can find. Yeah.
Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Yeah, no, I got you there. Unless, yeah, I was just thinking, like, unless you'd really become a scholar of the game and you watch teams that are outside of your interest
No,
at home just for,
I do put on baseball as background noise. So sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's ambient music.
it is. It's just
Yeah.
it's just crowd sounds. As a matter of fact, it'd probably be almost better to listen to it on the radio.
I could. I don't have a radio. I mean, I could do the internet radio thing. I'm too lazy.
No. I'm just saying that um, if you were so inclined, it would actually be a better fit for what you're doing.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
But
it's fine on YouTube TV though.
yeah, but fuck it. Yeah.
MLB is fine on there.
I just look
So
over every now and then and
yeah, sure.
actually watch
Yeah,
the
yeah,
baseball.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if I don't have to wait for them to sound out the counter or anything like that, I can just look at it. You know.
That's really all
Yeah.
there is to it.
So,
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
mean radio is good for like if you're on a job where they don't let you have a TV. If you're stuck in a car, radio's great. Yeah, but if I got a TV, I'm gonna watch TV. So now that being said, I do like the Rockies announcers on the radio.
Sure.
They're great.
Sure.
The KOA guys, they're great. Um, and I can't get Rockies games at home because stupid blackout.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I can get just about any other game that's on. So just not local.
So break it to me at this point. At this point, what is the purpose of the blackout now? Like, is that really helping their cause in any way?
My guess is it has to have something to do with their cable contracts. So I have no idea how it's structured. But, I mean, it's got to be like so that team gets a certain amount of cut from that market.
Yeah.
And so, in order to do that, the fucking network says, "All right, well, then that means it's blackout for other networks." I mean, that's how I would see if I was negotiating that deal. That's how I would do it. But
Well,
like, all right, fine. If you guys get a cut in this market, then it's not going to other markets. So that's going to drive more viewership to my market. And my mom definitely pays for that. So she watches every fucking Rockies game, and she pays for the full MLB upgrade ticket in
yeah,
order to get
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
No, I understand that. It's just the way it was explained to me was the way that blackouts work are, if the game doesn't sell out,
Mhm.
right, then it's blacked out on television.
Is that for baseball or for football though?
I
So
was told it was for both, but
yeah,
that
so
being
not very
said,
many
like
baseball games sell
that
out.
seems
Yeah,
really weird, right?
yeah.
Because
That would seem old school. That would make more sense
for
for baseball,
football, it,
or I mean
it
for
for
football.
sure.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
that's the story was first explained to me. I thought baseball was something similar, but
It might be. I don't know.
chances are, no, well, no, because the answer I'm giving is way simpler, and things rarely are ever as
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's true.
because I mean that's some of the the parting logic I'm giving to some of my students is like if it seems like you're being pointed toward the simple answer, it's wrong.
It's probably wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's probably wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't. Mm, that's been a sort of an up and down experience for me recently.
What, being wrong?
No,
Is that-
no. Well, I'm wrong all the fucking time, man.
Yeah, me
I
too.
accept it now. Like I only have a hard time with it if it's something that, like, why are you saying I'm wrong? Why are you doubting me? Why are you? What are you doing? But no, this is I made the call and I'm bleeding off my students for starting my next gig and uh some of this has been harder than I thought it would be.
What's saying bye? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Um. Well, yeah, and yours are different than mine. So you spent a lot more.
Personal time with him, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yours is kind of more of an open-ended agreement. So mine has a hard date at the end of the semester, and once I'm done grading
Yeah.
your shit, you and I are done. So you can keep in touch with me, via various professional forms of social media.
Yeah.
So or my email, which doesn't change. So but yeah, our day in day out, me teaching you shit's kind of done. So
Yeah.
I get to fire them all every semester. And I've been doing that for what, 12 years now? So longer than that.
Yeah.
13 years now. And so I'm kind of used to it. But if I was tutoring, yeah, that'd be tough. What's the longest running kid you've had? You've been doing it for what, like 2 years? 3 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
do you have some original customers still?
Pretty darn close.
Yeah, see, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, see, that's totally different than me. I mean, like in my program, I might see students twice. So I might see them for an early class and then a later one down the road, maybe, but that's not guaranteed, man.
Yeah.
So oftentimes I'll see him and then I won't see him again for 3 fucking years until I go to graduation. So it's like, oh, you made it, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think you're gonna. It's that kind of thing, yeah. But yeah, no, I get that, man. I can see how that would be hard.
And it was different, it was different with my high school students too. I mean, that's a different story. Because it's like you said, there's a terminus on it. Now, granted, again, it was a little bit more intense. So I'd see you 5 times a week.
Oh right, yeah, every day. Yeah.
Every day until the end of the year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is a certain closeness that came with that. But this is like, I meet with you personally, right?
Right, yeah.
1 to 2 times, however many times a week.
So you're not going to do any tutoring anymore? You're going to wrap it all up? Or
I might do just like maybe a couple of people. But
it's just by request only kind of stuff.
yeah, so I already basically blanked out my calendar and said like I'm not taking any new people, and I'm not. So the thing is, if I want people in, I can schedule it myself, right?
Oh, okay.
So if they have if that's what they want, then I can do that. But
They're not going to kick you off the platform for doing that?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
Well, I mean, if they do, then just be like, all right, fuck off. Then
yeah, just call me.
Well, yeah, just
I
be
have
like,
Zoom
yeah,
too.
just see on
Yeah.
Zoom. Here's my PayPal. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, like I said, it's been sort of a weird experience.
Yeah. No, I can empathize a little bit with that, man. So, I mean, I've had students over the years that I grew kind of close to, so ones who would keep in touch.
Yeah, yeah.
And then some of them go pretty far back now to the point in time where they got out, they got married, they had kids. Um,
Ran for Congress.
no, I haven't had that yet. Um, I've had some take radical career changes afterwards. So I had one who quit accounting to become an actor. I haven't
Wow.
heard from him in a while. So,
That's really good news or really bad news.
right.
That's either you're a professional or you're a professional heroin user.
Or something. Yeah, I've seen divorces. So I've seen marriages and then divorces. So, couple things. Seen students have kids and they get divorces with other students. Those are for a long time ago, though, man. I don't see that much now that I'm out of community college. When I was at community college, I used to see that a lot more. So, yeah. And in fact, when I was in community college, I had guys who got deployed and got killed. So, overseas. So, that was a unique experience. In that guy's case, I'm not surprised. He was a little bit enthusiastic, shall we say. Yeah, he was a little enthusiastic.
Yeah.
So, I've had that happen to 2 students. Yeah, I've been to 3 student funerals over the years. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. It's like some of them I keep in touch, but I get you on the emotional kind of like hit, because you never know how like some students are going to kind of impact you as an educator. So, and I mean, I'm sure there's a few that you're like good riddance. So
Yeah, of course. No,
yeah.
it's not, and it's not like I have a string of and nobody's bad. All right, it's just a question of whether or not they're interesting, and that's just the torture I'd elected to go through. But more so, it's like it's not me; it's their reaction to it. That is,
they're probably mad at you. Yeah.
Well, nobody's been mad. Everybody's been sort of like congratulatory, but there's also been like a period of like disbelief, right? Where it's
what
like,
am I gonna do? Yeah.
Well, no, not that. It's just more so the. Do you need a?
No, it's just a little bit of schmutz.
Okay. No, it's more along the lines of, like I tell them like, all right, so I'm moving on to this, and it's like, oh, well, you're still gonna be around in the evenings, though. I'm like, well, no, that's what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Oh, so weekends? And it's like, I don't think you're.
You're not tracking here, right, Ghost Rider? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's for me it's like, all right, well, I'm moving on, but for them this is all brand new information, so seeing their reaction is uh that's the tough part.
Who's taking it harder, the younger ones or the older ones? Or is
The
it
older
kind
ones.
of the older ones?
The older
See,
ones.
that I can see.
Yeah, the older ones.
Yeah, so some of my older students are the ones that I've had, where they've been beat up in the education system a little bit, and they come take my class, and well, what else do you teach? And I say, well, I teach this, and they say, oh, I'm going to take that. I was like, well, you don't need that. Well, what else do you teach? I was like, that's it. So yeah, no, you and we're done. And so sometimes you do get kind of that react. So
Yeah, and it's a little bit weird because I understand that I have a very specific field that I work in, but there's also a lot of like youngsters that it was a little bit more of like a mentorship kind of thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's like, well, you're young enough that you can ask me questions about other subjects and I can answer.
Right.
Now, I will say that you're getting kind of 10th grade-y with your math questions there. So,
let's see, pi r 2.
like, your dad's an engineer. Why don't you ask him?
Yeah, but he hits me. So.
These fucking people.
I know. Yeah, I know. I get that too. I don't want to ask my dad.
Broke it to this is what she was like. Do you have any idea how much your dad would love it if you came to him right now and said, I don't understand this math question. Could you help me? It's like, do you understand how much that would make his day?
It depends, man.
No, no, no. I know the guy.
Oh, okay. You know the
Yeah.
guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I know the whole goddamn family. It's
Okay.
like,
All right. So you got some inside knowledge there.
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Why don't you go try it? So yeah.
You didn't want to.
You don't
Because
want
it's the whole, like, well, I don't want to admit that, Dad,
I
that
don't want to show weakness in front of the fucking pack leader.
the fucking, like, yeah, exactly, that fucking, Russian bear claws or whatever, these bizarre species of people, yeah, where it's like, yeah, I can't show weakness in front of my father.
Right.
It's like, actually, you should.
Yeah. You live in America now.
Well, it's tough because I mean, yeah, I have to get like direct with some of these people. It's like a retard. Like, you need to understand that at this point, okay, you not asking for help is actually a worse sign of that you can't handle independence.
Yeah.
They can't trust you because you won't ask for help. Instead, you'd rather ride this thing out, fuck up your grade, and then have not asked for help anytime during the semester.
Right.
Right? If you had said at some point, hey, Dad, I'm struggling with this, he would put down whatever fucking, Russian screwdriver, whatever it is he's doing, very Russianly, and say, like, well, sit down, boy. Here, let's, what is this? This is a radians chart. No way around this except to memorize this. So shall we memorize it?
Right.
Right? But yeah, I was like, no, it was as like, I've been you, dude. I'm like, listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Like,
yeah, it's okay, man. So you don't need to be the tough guy all the time. So
yeah, well, and the
Yeah.
other side is it's like they want to help you with this. It's the other bullshit that if you're constantly like crying to mom and dad, right?
right.
That's the thing they're gonna be like, oh, you're not very mature,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Go suck it up and do what your teacher tells you to do. Yeah.
So the rest of the simple stuff is like, well, I don't know how to do this. It's like, well, it's pudding, so you pull back the lid, right?
Yeah.
And you eat the contents, boy.
Right. Yeah.
Right? It's like
You lick the backside of the lid. You're
yeah.
good to go. Time to rock.
It's just like, you go to
It's
college
pudding.
when?
Right. Yeah.
But no, you take something that's complicated that people don't understand, and you're like, well, I don't want to ask about this.
No, that's what. Yeah, you're right. That's
No,
what you should ask.
There's
So.
just years and years and years of experience going into that one. So
Right. Trying to speed run the answers. So. Yeah, my daughter did that to me today. She had kind of that moment where she comes home and, just explodes into a bunch of backpacks and books and detritus from school all over the floor. Shoes not aligned properly.
right.
Yeah, not even one of them's completely capsized, kind of thing. It's like there's no order to this whatsoever.
No.
So I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna go back downstairs. And then she follows me and she says, "Dad, what beater do I use to make cookies?" And I was like, "Why?" So she's like, "Well, I gotta make like 40 cookies for tomorrow." And I was like, "Now?"
Wait, when was this?
Yeah, exactly.
Was this during the day, or was this
This
at
was this afternoon.
9 o'clock at night? Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
this was this afternoon. In fact, they're sitting in my fridge right now. But
Oh, okay.
it was just one of those things where it's kind of like, what she said, well, we talked about it last night. I was like, how much did I drink? I didn't drink last night. I still don't remember this, so this is not good. So, it means that I'm learning to tune out my family. So, but it was also one of those things where it was like,
You said that, huh?
no, I didn't say that.
No. But that's what you said. Oh, you said that. Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah,
Cookies, huh?
cookies, yeah. But then after like 10 seconds, I was like, all right, let's go make cookies. So, it's not that big a deal and stuff like that. And I know you'll ask me like 5 other questions along the way. So let me just stand over your shoulder for a little bit, let you do it. So, and then after about halfway through, I was like, yeah, you're good. You need help? She's like, no. I was like, great. Off you go. So, but it was 10 questions. So, how much of this do I use? What was the recipe say? So do I use this one or that one? What's the thing on the cup say? Kind of thing. Yeah. So it was definitely one of those things where it's like, no, I got this. And it's like, well, a little bit of help go a long way. And so thank you for asking. So I won't be a dick to you. So here we go.
No, don't even pretend like you didn't at least kind of enjoy it.
Not at first. At first, I was kind of like, fuck it, I'll just do it. You know? So. But then after she cracked one egg perfectly, I was like, you got this. You're not going to make a mess. So, you're fine.
Your daughter doesn't seem ungraceful, so...
But she has her moments, so...
As do we all. But...
Yeah, no, she has her moments. She has zero physical ability, so, I mean, like, nothing. In terms of balance, she's still one of those kids who walks down the steps one step at a time. So, kind of... Oh, yeah. So, she can't ride a bike. So...
Can't or won't?
Yes. Yeah, so, but she'll come into it, man. So.
No, of course she will. I mean, I guess what's weird is I didn't become a complete and total puss until way later in life. And yeah, that's like I remember we had this thing where it wasn't like one step. It was constantly a contest of how many steps can you leap to get to the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Well,
my brother and I do the same. I think that's a boy thing. So
maybe,
yeah.
and I presume that's a large part of my bias, but
right.
Yeah, and I really can't tell you at what age where that happened, but some boys, they keep going with that where it's like, well, this is a bridge, let's jump off it, right?
Right, yeah.
And there becomes a point where for me, I'm like, oh man, that's...
I think I got more adventurous as I got older, and then when I got quite a bit older, less. So yeah.
I can't tell you when that stopped, but it definitely stopped.
Right.
I really can't determine when, because for a long time it's like, oh, I don't care. It's like you just look at the steepness of a hill, it wouldn't matter. It's like, well, I know you would put Crisco on the sled and let's go.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then there's just a part where, like as an adult, you could have that sled in hand and the Crisco, and you're like, ain't no fucking way I'm going down.
Are you mad? Yeah. So, no, yeah, we used to do that as kids. We had a metal saucer. That thing was lethal. So
I love this story, but yeah,
it was absolutely lethal. So we crashed through a fence. So, which my dad had to pay to replace.
I'm glad it happened then, because if you replaced a fence now, it is a fucking fortune.
Dude,
Fencing
anything like that.
So expensive now.
So, like, I've been trying to get some landscaping done. It is fucking impossible right now.
What are you trying to have done?
Rock. So, yeah,
okay.
and I'm certainly not shoveling rock myself. So.
Oh, where they dump it out on the street and you...
I ain't doing that. I don't have the physical ability to be able to do that anymore. So.
Well, now's not exactly the best time for you to do that anyway.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, it's so hard to get even just a call back. So right now, and anything that has anything to do with any kind of the trades. The exception to that was I actually did get a plumber to come out to my house pretty easily. So
you needed plumbing?
Yeah. So we needed finally got my sump pump fixed and done up. And
did you really?
Yeah, I did. And so I've got like $1,000 sump pump sitting in my garage that I need to put on like Facebook Marketplace or something, because I just told him, the guy looked at it, he's like, I don't know what the fuck this is. So, and I was like, is it expensive? And he's like, yeah. So, and I was like, can you replace it with something that works? And he said, yeah. And so I just got an old new one. So, because he looked at it like 3 ways. He was like, this is way over engineered for what you need. So he said, this is ridiculously complicated. So, and I was like, do I need that? He's like, absolutely not. So he was like, this will pump out a battleship.
Yeah. That's a weird question. Like, so are you a shopping mall? Is this...
Yeah, it kind of was that look that I got from him. So,
Dude, how often must that happen to contractors when they open something up and they see something
these fucking guys,
yeah, where it was either like clearly a homebrew or something that whoever was there before, like, I can't even decipher what they were thinking.
When I got an addition, because I had a new panel put in like 2 years ago or
Panel?
3 years ago.
What do you
Yeah, a
mean
new
panel?
electrical panel.
Oh
So
yeah,
in my
yeah,
house,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. When you got
so
the AC,
when I got
right?
the AC,
Yeah, yeah.
and that guy was taking a look at this, and he was like, "I don't know what this guy was thinking." So because he was like, "Why is this here? Why is that there? I cannot tell where this goes." He's like, "What are all these little things?" And then he just got interested in it. He was like, "I gotta figure this out."
Right.
So yeah.
I won't charge for this.
No, he
Yeah.
was, and then he finally figured out. I was like, "Do you have a burglar alarm?" I was like, "No." He's like, "You're wired for one." So, and I was like, "That's great." So he says, "But somebody snipped off all the cables at the windows and took the little thingies with them." So
What
when
the
they
fuck
left,
would you do
that's
that
what he
for?
said. So
How is that going to
yeah,
save
and he
you?
was just sitting there looking at all this different electrical work that whoever the previous homeowner had done. Um, he was like, "Look, this ain't gonna be cheap, you know, but I'm gonna knock a bunch of this off for you." So, and he's like, "It's gonna take me 3 days," and he did. He went through, he redid all our outlets and everything and stuff. And
That's
yeah,
yeah.
and it was like, "All right, so you're good now. Here's your schematic. All right, I'm gonna put up the little sticker thing, which that guy didn't put up. Okay, that shows you what does what. I'm gonna walk you through what every one of these breakers do." And it was cool,
That's
So,
great.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he was definitely one of those guys who's like, "What the fuck is this?" So,
It's so weird, yeah, because you're like, if you're thinking this, right?
right.
What was the other guy?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And
Exactly.
where did you learn this versus where did he learn this?
Right.
This seems like something like you just picked up. This is like
So at some point in time, so my house has had 3 previous owners. One of those guys was a dangerous handyman. So
Explain.
he did a lot of shit, or that I don't know. I'm gonna assume it's some dude who is like, "Oh, I got the fucking Time Life books on home repair." So
Wait, were Time Life the big ones back then?
they were. So it's got to be something like that because this is before internet, man. So
No,
yeah.
it's before internet, but I'm trying. Okay, so Time Life would have been one of them. Wasn't there one other like? It was like Family Handyman or
Yeah, sure, yeah.
that wouldn't be a Popular Mechanics thing, would it? No,
It might be,
no,
but
because that was more cars than anything, right?
they did everything.
Okay,
So they
all
did
right.
everything.
All right,
So
but anyway, I'm sorry,
yeah. And so, like, in my basement, I know he did the basement himself. And so this is what sucks about my basement, because eventually I'm gonna have to gut the whole motherfucking thing. So
For what?
there's no insulation down there. They just put up fucking sheetrock. So
Is it cold?
huh?
Is it cold down there?
No. So, but that's the reason why my house is listed at about 2/3 of the square footage that it actually is.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing is like, so the way he designed the rooms down there, they're kind of neat, okay, but it's so like it's complicated enough to warrant a guy who actually knows how to do carpentry. Okay, and so he just did something that was a little bit past his skill level, and now everything is getting kind of janky because, of course, the house settles over time. We've been there, what, a decade now? And so it's gotten to the point in time where there's a couple doors that don't open and there's a couple that don't close.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, and then on top of that, they didn't really fix the drainage problem, which I spent a lot of money last year to fix. So, or I guess 2 years ago. That problem is thoroughly solved. You will never get a drop of water in my fucking basement. So even without that fucking battleship pump in there, yeah. So and now it's just kind of like, all right, so we're down to the not expensive stuff. Okay, but the gutting and the redoing all the things and stuff like that, I mean, that's really hard to find right now. As someone who's willing to do just like simple carpentry and framing for you. It's really hard. And so same thing with fences. You don't need to pull permits to do a fence. So at least I don't think you do. I don't know. You might.
I don't know. If that were something that was done, it was not done by me. It would have been done all by my
Yeah, it would have been
but-
done by the contractor,
Yeah.
especially since yours was an insurance claim. He just sent them the bill. Right?
I
Did you have to pay out of pocket?
I was reimbursed.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Fine. So yeah,
Yeah.
he knows he's getting paid. So
Oh yeah.
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 So, but if you got big ticket items out there to get done, so like that plumbing thing, that was no problem. All right. So, well, I mean, fences aren't cheap either. So
Yeah, I'm glad.
yeah,
Dude, I would not have paid that on my own because the shit was expensive.
yeah,
Fencing is fucking expensive. Yeah, and this
yeah.
was, you got to
And
remember.
that was right when we were having that wood shortage.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
remember that.
Because you remember
Yeah, I remember
there were
that.
two things that the wood shortage overlapped with the other thing when the tree fell on my fucking house, right? So the initial
Mm,
estimate changed in between then and when the wood shortage shit came.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. You got a new roof too. So
Yeah, yeah. You remember when there was a tree in it?
I do remember when there was a tree in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember that. So
Yeah, so those were, it was like after that got buttoned up, then it was the fence. And before then, if you recall, was when the Amazon guys destroyed my mailbox.
I do remember that. Yeah, you have a very nice mailbox now.
It's
So
fine.
it's fine. Yeah.
It certainly, it looks nicer, but it has none of the character.
Well, it doesn't have the baling wire around it that's holding it together.
Y'all don't even know, but yeah, that's yeah. Like I said, it was sort of like a landmark. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to think about. I've got all summer now to think about what project I want to do next. So
Well, you were talking about these rocks.
yeah, my yard looks like absolute dog shit right now. So, um, and I don't like that. So I do like a clean looking yard. So it's not there right now. I did pay like $500 to get rid of my last giant aspen tree. So
Oh.
that was
Oh.
definitely worth it. It was between my house and the neighbor's house. And it was probably a good 60, 70 feet. And so it was like, I saw my neighbor cut his down solo. Just sitting there, I was like, this gonna fucking fall in my house, and it's gonna fall in my house, it's gonna fall in my fucking truck. So you're gonna fucking fuck this one up, man, somehow. So, and he somehow managed to do it, and now all that shit is stacked up in his front yard, and it's been there for a year. So I was like, all right. So I've had guys come out and remove trees. They're not cheap. All right. But I called
Nope.
these guys up that I really like. They've always done a good job. They've never been cheap, but they would always show up and they would clean up and they'd be done in less than like an hour or two. So, and I call this guy up and he's like looking at me or looking at, he's like, oh, you did this one. Yeah. You did these two? Yeah. I was like, he's like, hey, man. So this one's going to be half price. So I was like, it's my last tree, bro. And he's like, even better. It was like cool, man. If anybody out there needs a fucking tree service in Colorado Springs, you need to call Precision Tree. So and ask for uh Dave, I think his name is. Yes, it's David. Yeah, he's great. So there you go, free advertisement amongst our 10 viewers. Not cheap, but done, clean, gonzo. So
Well, no, you did that. That was the that was your. You get 2 points on the triangle. You don't get all three.
exactly, you don't get all three, man. Yeah, it's cheap, fast, or easy, right?
Well,
Cheap,
it's
fast, and good. Cheap,
yeah,
fast, and good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
God, I was thinking about that the other day. There was something that we were talking about on the podcast the other night. And then it was one of those things where, like, the next day I was like, oh, that's that cheap, fast, and good problem. So I can't remember what the fuck we were talking about, though. But it was, like, almost perfect. So how it fit that one. It was healthcare. It was healthcare. I was getting mad at the TV the other day because some of the socialists that I listen to from time to time were banging on about universal healthcare. And it was the cheap, fast, and good problem. In America, we picked good and fast.
Yep,
So you don't get
yep.
cheap. And so stop talking about healthcare being a universal right. You already have a right to healthcare. You can go to the ER and they cannot refuse you service. So you do have a right for that. You just don't have a right for it being cheap.
That's correct. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what I was banging on about. So, yeah, I was getting mad at the TV the other day. So I must have been getting salty.
What? Because of this? Because of this? Well, okay,
There were
so
these guys that I was listening to, and I like them, okay, but sometimes they get my piss to a low boil. So because it's just like, just go do the math, all right, please, like you say these things, and just because you say them doesn't make them doable,
no, no,
Yeah,
no, you're right. There are certain within that same vein, there are certain things that guys like that, and I don't know them personally, but in a lot of discussions like that, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take certain assumptions and run with these as though they are universal truths, where they'll
right.
just say like, well, so dealing with the reality of institutional racism, and for me, I'd be like, well, pump the brakes, guys. Like, what do you mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
let's define that
wait,
term.
wait, don't
Yeah.
just don't just throw that out there and say
Uh-uh.
like this is part of actual reality. It's like,
Well, no, and people, when they do that, they're smart enough to know that they're already advancing the argument past the point in time where you can actually, mount a more effective defense. So, because if you sit there and if you accept the premise of institutional racism being a pervasive like element of American society, okay, well, fine, I might as well just fucking give up now, kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, yeah, and that's where I sort of like those sorts of things. It's same thing with people starting to talk about like, well, you have to accept that this is like transgenocide. And I'm like, by what fucking definition? I
exactly.
mean, that was, frankly, I was surprised the amount of traction that I got on one of these, where it was just, okay, I want you to go to Google Maps, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, and I want you to go to Google Maps and find me one mass trans grave.
Yeah. Show me where the Treblinka is, please.
I'm like, go ahead. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, there are different kinds. I'm like, yeah, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying it's this.
Yeah, you're saying it's this kind. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I'm not surprised you got traction on that, man. So because people use that word so freely, so it doesn't
Oh,
it doesn't mean what it
really?
used to mean,
No,
man. Yeah.
no.
So it doesn't mean what it used to mean. I mean, it used to be something very specific. You were talking about ovens and trains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically, yeah,
Yeah.
every minute that we've gone past 1945, yes.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, like I remember they were using it back in Rwanda, and that was
yeah,
legit,
yeah.
totally legit. It's like,
Croatia,
yes,
yeah.
Croatia, yes, that's a genocide. All right, that's where you round up people because they identify or are of a certain ethnic group, and you shoots them. So yeah,
And then you dig a big hole and you
right,
throw all the bodies in there,
yep,
or you find some other way to make them all go away.
right,
Yes, that is correct. But no, there's this piece where it's they say like, well, there are like 10 steps of this here, and like steps 1 through 3. Well, I'm like, well, these are so fucking nebulous. This could apply to anyone,
yeah, sure,
right?
yeah.
Now you're getting to like part 4 here, where you're talking about dehumanization. Like, okay, got it.
Well, there's all of comedy right there.
Well, it's not just all of comedy. It's like, so if I were to go through your post history here, like, show me one time that you've compared people that you don't like to something that you don't like.
Oh yeah, sure.
So that would be number 4. Okay, so that means I'm on your list, right?
Right, because apparently I'm a Nazi, quote
Right.
unquote.
And then there's this piece where it's like, well, the government does this or whatever, and I'm like, this is such bullshit. I'm like, the only part where this applies is like steps 8, 9, and 10,
Right.
right? Because the rest of this is all completely interpretive and would include you and me
Yeah,
and the
sure.
dude. It's just like, please don't refer to this as that. Please don't.
No.
Please don't. This is just, again, it's one of those things where certain words are utterly meaningless. Like, genocide, fascist is meaningless. It's just like,
Fascist is meaningless unless somebody's actually using it correctly. So which is very rare, and that usually is someone who's quite elderly and has either firsthand knowledge of fascism
well, they'll be like,
or
so my uncle in Italy.
right. Yeah, he
Yeah,
wore a black uniform.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah, that's the thing is yeah.
admit it's untimely end due to piano wire. So yeah.
The same thing here every now and then when people are like, communism is dope. It's like,
Huh.
It's killed more people than any other ideology on this planet. You
Oh my
understand that,
God,
right?
yeah. So it's a lot. I saw someone absolutely get shut down the other day on that.
Really? What was the occasion?
So you're not gonna like this one, but it's appropriate. So it was basically talking about like I can't remember who the debate was between, but the guy on the other side was actually Christopher Hitchens' brother,
Okay.
um, who's very conservative.
Is that like Jeff Hitchens or something like that? That's
So
like a simple
it's
name.
Bob Hitchens.
Yeah. No, isn't that Bob Hitchens? Isn't that like a guy from around here? Some dude that like sells.
He trims trees. I can't remember his name. He's been on a couple things lately.
Yeah.
He's completely opposite of his brother
Yeah,
on many
yeah.
things, including his brother's stance on atheism. And he made this argument. He was like, "There has been no ideology on the face of the planet that has been more destructive than atheism." So, yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, so the funny thing about it is like, all right, so let's rack up the top 3 atheists. They're all in the 20th century. Who were they? You know?
Well,
So he says, the point behind having actually a little bit of spiritualism behind your actions and a little bit of accountability that are beyond your own morality is the fact that you cannot define your own morality. And so it was this complete. I had never thought about that. I would never use Stalin, Mao, and Hitler because it's really easy to take Mao and Stalin, put them together and say, "Oh, communism is really destructive," but it's hard to add Hitler to that one. So because decidedly not a communist, and so okay, so fascism is your number 2. But if you want to get all 3 of those guys on the same team, there you go.
okay, so all right, so okay. While I understand that completely, and I'm certainly not going to dispute that. The thing with that for me would be whether or not it is atheism that drove their actions, right? Whereas I can say they're
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, his argument was that atheism allowed them to define their own sense of morality, which allowed them to justify their actions in each of those cases.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, no, I can see problems with it, but it was also a good point, and it did completely shut down the other guy on the other side of the table for this one, which was kind of funny. So,
but the problem I would have with that is that anybody that was willing to basically go into those boundaries in the first place is not somebody that would hold to the tenets of basic religious adherence in that regard. Anyway.
Oh yeah,
and that's the type of thing I was
no,
like,
that's fine.
no, and that's again, I don't have a problem with the argument per se in terms of I just have nothing that I can really back that up with, because I can't say that I don't think there's any correlation that there's any correlation that atheists commit crimes at any higher levels or do.
I bet you they committed at lower levels, but I don't know, man. It's really hard to actually do that one because there's very few surveys out there that actually drive a wedge between atheism and agnosticism. So, and then on top of it, there's others. Well, it's like, what's your definition of a crime? So, that one would be hard to do. The whole point behind this one was someone was bagging on him because Christopher Hitchens was his brother. So, and he holds views that are extremely different than those of his brother. So, I mean, the guy's a conservative, he's a Christian, all this stuff. So he's an imperialist, baby, like basically.
He is,
in the old school British tradition, So.
And he didn't write a teardown of Mother Teresa. So
he did not write a teardown of Mother Teresa. So yeah, and so it was basically like a backhanded like roundhouse kick on that guy. So,
it
was going after him because he was his brother. So yeah,
it's a weird guilt by association thing that you get sometimes.
Absolutely,
right. Knowing that brothers are it's so bizarre because as often as brothers are similar, they're just drastically apart.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Which should be the assumption where I don't know. I find that odd. Especially when and I've had discussion about this with a lot of students and that kind of thing when they talk about siblings. It's, a lot of times there's no education going on, Patrick, it's just musing. But there's that thing where when you look at the proximity of people in your life, and you have to make choices about whether to follow in someone's path or go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people look at this and say, I can't be this. So I have to go in a completely different path, right?
Mhm.
As opposite as possible, right?
Mhm.
And so sometimes there's like, well, you're Christopher Hitchens' brother. It's like, yeah, and
Well, the funny thing is, he's the older brother too. So yeah, yeah, I know. So it's obviously like if that's true in this case, then okay. So older brother did this, younger brother said "fuck you," so it went that way. Yeah. So no, it's. I mean, I see that more with fathers and children. So
that happens
yeah,
too.
that happens a lot.
And sometimes,
So
yeah, sometimes there's a father-child kind of relationship between brothers too. Sometimes,
sometimes, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah. That one's not always age dependent either, man. So sometimes you can
Nope.
have like very little distance between the two in terms of age, and you see that as well.
And sometimes it can even be in reverse.
Oh, that I haven't seen. So
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it exists. I can't. No, nobody comes to mind right off the bat. I don't know that many Paris brothers. I know you and Will, me and my brother.
Well, I knew all of those Kevin boys,
You knew all those Kevin boys. That's true. So
and that
those
also goes for, um,
that clan of hooligans. So
yeah. I'm telling you, most of the people I knew a lot of siblings. I didn't. What there weren't, nobody really had any sisters.
see, I knew more of that, especially from my family. So my family had a lot more girls in it than it did boys. So especially on my mom's side. So um, most of my friends had sisters though. So let's see. Yeah. Yeah, well,
Kevin did, but
Kevin
that
did,
was
but she
so,
was so much older.
yeah.
Yeah, that was totally different. Um,
But around here, most
oh
of the
no,
people,
actually, yeah, a lot of them were boys. Come to think of it,
yeah, there was a
I
big
was
gang of
usually friends
boys.
with the older brother, though. I don't remember too many younger brothers except for you, and then Kevin, who
Matt.
was the youngest. Matt?
Yeah,
Well, I knew his older
I
brother.
was gonna say that of Matt and Greg fame.
I wasn't really. Nobody really liked Matt in the beginning. So- yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. So, so what's new in the news, man? Anything new? I
Um.
hate to punt to that, but
Well, it's not really a punt, man. It's. I mean, the things that I've been seeing here are, in a lot of ways, like continuations of a lot of the same things that I've been seeing. Like the things that I've been watching is, of course, the Anheuser-Busch story, which.
so how bad is it getting for them? So, because I get conflicting data on that.
So I checked it into it today
Okay.
because of the Target backlash. Are you aware of the Target backlash?
I'm not aware of the target.
Then we'll
backlash.
talk about both of those. So the Bud Light at this point is at 30% down from last year at this time.
Sales.
Yes,
Just Bud Light.
just Bud Light.
Okay.
Now, as far as the other brands, yes, they are seeing dents, but
Right.
it's nothing like Bud Light is the one that's catching the.
Right, yeah, they're the ones in the ad. So, yeah, sure.
Well, look, and that would be the same thing. You would say that anything that says Bud on it should also probably be catching those same hands, but
There are a lot of things that say Bud on them but don't.
Right.
So, yeah.
So that one is drastically down. So much to the point where their turns on this have been
Have they apologized?
not formally.
Oh,
They
okay.
gave out a non-apology apology.
Yeah, corporate apology.
But what they started doing was so they rebranded the beer in all red, white, and blue and camouflage colors. And I shit you not. And there's what they're trying to do is they're now trying to bring this into like veterans, right? They're advancing the cause of like they're doing like veterans causes, right? And
Okay, that's actually smart.
no, yeah, right, because
Yeah,
that's
that's
sort
smart.
of, but it's not. It hasn't changed a thing. In fact, it's getting worse. But
Depends on what they do. I mean, I don't know. Put yourself in the shoes of that business. What would you do? So,
well, this is an impossible question. Like
No.
you're talking about what would I do post mistake? I would have
Yeah.
never let that happen. In
no,
the
no, no.
first
All right. So the lady's been fired. I hire you. What are we doing? So,
Apologize.
okay. Like formally, what does that apology say? So,
Well, what that apology says is, I would jump in there, and I won't say this, word for word, but it's more along the lines of basically like, it's a shitty thing to lose your guiding star, right? And sometimes you forget, right? You get so interested in chasing new markets that you forget about the people who brought you,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. All right.
And
That would be good along those lines.
Yeah.
So yeah.
basically, this is just like a call out of like, look, we made a mistake, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And that would be what I.
We got away from
Yeah.
we got away from the people who love us. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We're here for you guys.
well, and I mean, I think they might be doing that with the veterans. See, that's really smart. I've seen other companies do that in the past. So where it's like, well, there's always a safe place you can run to if you pitch enough money towards Wounded Warrior Project or something like that.
Right.
People just like, oh, that's great, Dan. Yeah, I'm gonna drink that. So kind of thing.
But
that doesn't work as good as it used to, but it still works.
No, well, especially if the pivot is reactionary towards this, because it's so obvious. The problem here,
Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
yeah, the problem here is that they are now between the rock and the hard place, right? Is because the crowd that they just appealed to now is holding their feet to the fire because they said, wait a second, are you supporting us or not?
Well,
Because
you got to fish or cut bait now.
that's exactly it. And they refuse to do that. So this is the problem.
Well, if
right?
you embrace veterans and do camo cans, you're going pretty far in one direction. I mean, you could probably take it a little further. So
Yeah, so all of they've already released like new official ads, and
okay,
these
I did see one. Joe Rogan was making fun of
where
one.
yeah where it's just like
Clydesdale's back on the beaches.
it is, and it's it has just been like soaked in country music and stuff like that. But so this is where the other side comes in. This is where the Target part comes in, right?
Okay.
So this is where Bud is, and the thing is, so I think there's like 200 distributors around
I have no idea.
something like that, right? 200 distributors of Bud Light. What they started showing is that individual distributors have started taking out radio ads in their own areas
To get rid of it?
well, basically to say that, look, we disputed this decision when it happened. Okay. We still have families. We're still trying to this. We didn't do this.
I've never seen an ad from a distributor.
You wouldn't. You
Yeah, I
never
know.
would.
That would be kind of an interesting thing. Is
That's-
to be like, I'm sorry, I'm not corporate McDonald's. I'm, Joe Blow
Exactly.
McDonald's.
Yeah. So that's where they're caught between two worlds. It's not working out too well. They're going to have to pick a side eventually, right? And what I'm going to tell you is, if you pick that side, I'm going to tell you
You're gonna lose.
that's not the Bud Light drinking audience.
No. It's
They're
way
not
smaller.
fucking interested.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
but so what Target did, and Target has been, I wasn't surprised by this at all, right? Target has been kind of like pushing themselves as like progressive Walmart for years.
Oh yeah,
right?
sure. You got to do something when Walmart's in your neighborhood, man.
Yeah. No, I totally
They've been
understand.
doing that for a long time. That's the place where the young kids go to get cool throw pillows. So yeah.
Yeah, and they'll do everything they can to not seem like a Walmart, right? So I remember a long time ago, they were one of the first companies that came out and said, like, look, our employees can use whatever fucking bathroom they feel like, and so can the customers. That's just how this is going to work, right? And I was like, good for you.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's fine.
that's your good on you. That's like you believe something, you're going to go with it, right? I still believe that, right? But so what they did was about 2 days ago, prior to Pride Month, right? What they did was they were starting to block out a section in the front of all their stores, right?
Yeah.
With the trans and pride friendly stuff, right?
Oh god, swimsuits.
Now here's where it gets.
Oh lord.
Okay, so yes, swimsuits. There are swimsuits over there that they're showing. I mean, they're saying these are designed for tucking and things like this.
Okay.
Right. So you put all this in the front store.
I don't want to walk my kids by that and have to explain what that is.
And therein lies the problem. Was in a faster course than even Bud Light. Okay.
Iceberg did it.
Target sort of the edict went out. Okay, so their stock was down like 6%, And
Yeah, stock is different though.
well,
Stock
hold
is
on to
different
that,
than
and
sales.
I'll talk
Yeah.
about that in a second. All right, so those guys started backpedaling fast. So what they did was they took all that crap, okay, instead of making it like the front third, they put it way in the back.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Of course, that pissed off the LGBTQ, well, mostly the T community.
Yeah, the alphabet crowd, right? So they stuffed that stuff way in
I'm
the
not
back.
calling them that anymore, man, because there's parts that just don't agree with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
until such point where you divorce yourself from that, go ahead. But
I've seen some people trying real hard. So,
well, again,
yeah.
like there's a reason that every day there's a trending hashtag of LGB minus the T. All right. So the the other piece of this was that's where the people saw who the designer of a lot of I shit you not, okay? So the other thing that just piled on top of that was the person who did a lot of this like tuck friendly crap, right? Was a designer who was an open Satanist. I'm not fucking with you. I'm not. I can't make this stuff up, dude.
Oh my
You're
God,
laughing,
man,
but you know
yeah.
this is absolutely true. So it's an open, like he broadcasting like Satanist, like very vocal Satanist trans person, right? So basically, a whole bunch of parents, right, looked at this and said that exact same thing. It was like,
God dang, who in Target would think that was a good idea?
that's the
Yeah,
thing. Is
exactly.
they went so far down the rabbit hole. So every like little conspiracy dumb thing that you'd pick up, like, oh, this country's being deliberately overtaken, blah 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 blah. Right? Sometimes all you need is just something like this that says, like, oh fuck you, right?
Right, yeah.
So what they did was they pulled those things, stuffed them in the back, right? Left the stuff on their website, right? Then what they found out was after they saw that like this is the person who's designing this shit, right? They then pulled that dude's stuff off their website,
Oh,
right?
so he had other product lines and stuff.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
These are so Target is backpedaling super hard, right? And well, and
Yeah, I would too. So
and therein
yeah,
lies
yeah.
the problem because the crowd that first took offense said, "Fuck Target, I'm not going to shop here." The other crowd said, "You back down at the slightest provocation, and you put your profits before your commitment to our cause."
That's because we're a
Fuck you,
company. Okay,
right?
off you go. I
I
don't
know.
need you guys as customers.
I
Yeah,
know, that's what I'm saying
So,
here,
yeah.
and this is where
I've got 350,000 employees to watch out for. So
you're correct.
Yeah, fuck off.
Right, and
Yeah.
and this is after you guys had a rather unimpressive entry and exit from Canada.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
So Target, so there's a lot of people like from like the Target border that or the U.S. Canada border that would come to Target down here.
Oh, okay.
They loved it, right?
Yeah, sure.
It was like, this is great. We don't have. They had a chain kind of like that, but they were they went
They don't have Walmarts in Canada?
No,
Really?
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know. They got
Well, either
fucking China for crying out loud. I'm
Either
sure
that
they
or
got
like the
Canada.
penetration is not used. There was
Uh-huh.
a Canadian version of it, right?
Oh.
But those guys sort of went under, right? So Target said, "Hey, we're gonna.
Oh, okay.
You guys love us down here, right?" And they would have that. That's where they got the data. It's like Canadian customers would come down here and shop. It's like, well, if they have these shops sitting down, it's like, let's get in there, right?
Yeah.
This is a perfect
Sure.
opportunity, all right? Evidently, it turns out to be one of the worst financial mistakes of their career. Was
Targets.
yeah,
So they went a little bit too big on it.
way too big.
Yeah.
Right. And so in and out within 1 year spent billions. Right.
Yeah.
So on top of that, you have that.
Somebody
going
got
on.
fired.
Well, everybody was on board with it. They were like,
I get that,
this
man,
makes
but
perfect
yeah,
sense.
no, you got a company makes several $billion mistakes. Somebody gets torched.
I'm sure.
So yeah.
I'm sure. But anyway, so that's where they are with this. And so what I saw the other day was the sort of the details behind Disney that haven't been broadcasted.
Mhm.
Right. So evidently they are far worse off than either of us thought.
What, Disney?
Yes.
Well, what does that mean? You know,
Okay.
like, is the company heading for imminent bankruptcy bad?
It depends.
I
depends.
find that really hard to believe.
I understand why.
There's a lot of money they got to chew through. So in that thing,
Well, because here's the thing: is they don't have a lot of cash,
you don't need cash if you have assets.
but they do need cash.
Why?
They specifically need cash
For what?
Because they have a contract that's coming up here with Hulu, right?
Oh, okay.
Hulu is a three-way, conglomerate put
I didn't
together,
know that.
right? Okay, well, so here's the thing: is the other owner, big owner, is Comcast
Of
of Hulu,
Hulu. Okay.
right? And so, in order to buy them out, which is what they want to do, right?
They want to buy. Disney wants to buy out Comcast, or Comcast wants to buy out.
They want to
Disney?
buy out Comcast so that they can basically bolster their streaming services, right?
Yeah.
The problem is what they have on hand is about 10 billion, right?
Okay.
And that's right around what it costs, okay?
Okay.
But as you and I both know, right? Half of what you pay for something is not from just cash, right? The other half is stuff that you usually give in like stocks and things like that, right?
In a deal like that, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of their deals have been.
Yeah.
It's the same. Those are the deals that they made for Fox and things like that, where a lot of it is stock, right? So for them, this is where you're talking about stock prices don't matter. It does when your stock
It
was
can.
120
Yeah.
and it's 90 and falling. So that means they have to give away a shitload more stock to do this. They had a secret meeting with, well, it wasn't a secret meeting, it was a company meeting where they didn't screen everybody out the right way, right? So a lot of questions made it to Iger that were never supposed to get there, right?
This wasn't the quarterly call.
Was that the one a few weeks ago? I think.
I don't know
Yeah.
because those are public. So.
No, this was public.
Oh yeah, then it
But-
might be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But they tried to screen those out. But a lot of
Usually the way those calls works is the major investors get dibs on questions. So, and they say, okay, we're only going to take 10 questions. And so if I'm JP Morgan Chase, I get a fucking question. So, yeah.
and these were the people that were asking the questions they didn't want to answer.
Yeah. He's got to answer them, man. So that's the cool thing about those calls is they will absolutely light you up, man.
And they did.
So, yeah, good.
So I listened to that, and they basically lit them up here. But the other piece of this, right, is that they went into the real. Okay, so there was a guy that specializes with basically the exact kind of law that the Reedy Creek deal thing covers.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I had no idea the full complexities of this.
I took one look at it and I just said nope. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So I noped out on that, but somebody else who is an expertise, he's like, these guys are fucked up, right? He's like, all right, so I know these attorneys, okay?
Mhm.
I know these attorneys in this game. He's like, so two of these attorneys are from New York,
Mhm.
okay? And there's one person here that is a Florida attorney. Right?
So what is the Reedy Creek thing? What is it?
Okay. So I'm going to explain it the best that I can.
All right.
I am
Give me the PB&J version. So
Okay. So the way I understand it, Reedy Creek is a subdivision in there that was made with an agreement with Disney that is supposed to be separate from Disney. It is not supposed to be Disney owned or supported.
okay,
No.
But what is it? Is it a town?
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, okay, all right. So
Right.
they've got their own incorporated town.
Right.
Got it.
But it is not supposed to be part of that company. The reason that it's there was because of promises basically made in the 60s where
And they're building Disney World, right?
and
Yeah.
they had special add-ons that they were going to do, right? And so this was always meant to be kept separate, right? They were not supposed to have any kind of anything like that, right? So the whole thing on this here is that as it stands, it's not in Disney's favor, right? Because ultimately right here is if they exercise any control over this and use this area as an area of influence, that means
Influence what?
to influence the government, to influence
What,
any
like
of
the state government?
yeah. If they
Well, how could a city government influence the state government?
well, that's sort of the problem here, right? Because they have their own separate governance, right? But the thing is, they're not allowed to speak for Disney.
So, what do you mean they? The people who
The
are on the
Reedy
city
Creek.
council?
Yes.
So there
Yes.
are actual residents in the city.
There's a board, yes, right. But
they're-
yeah,
they're
they're elected.
elected.
Yes. Well, appointed.
By who?
Well, that's where DeSantis started appointing guys to that board on the state. Previously,
So the state appoints people to the board
It's weird.
Yeah,
That's what I'm telling
this
you.
is
It's weird.
yeah,
Okay?
it's
I gotta explain.
it's a fucking ball of tape.
Yeah, okay. So it's a ball thing. I'll get you. I will
Yeah.
get you the full thing on this. I just watched this the other day, but basically the bottom line is on this here is, um, when this happened and Iger started running his mouth. Okay, this is the bottom line of it: is the way that they are doing their law down there. They have their own attorneys in New York.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
New York and California.
Yeah.
Right. And there is one Florida lawyer that is tied to that. But the way they're doing that here is that person that they retain is not for the purpose of Florida, uh, not for the purpose of that property law, right? The reason they're doing that is basically in Florida, if you want to have lawyers basically practice, right, basically do stuff within that state,
Yeah, you have to take Florida bar.
or you attach yourself to someone who already has.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Reciprocity, that's common. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's the only part of Florida law that they have in there, right?
okay.
And that dude is not an expert at that, and none of the other guys are experts in that too,
Okay.
right? So when it comes down to it, the actual experts in that kind of property law down there, they're like, "You're fucked. You guys messed up."
What do you mean fucked?
I will get you the full details.
What, I mean, what does that mean? Like break the fucking company fucked or Bob Iger do good? See, that's my thing about Disney's big enough shit, man. They'll fucking jettison the management before the company cracks. So
Well, here's the thing: is it's not. There are huge cracks going on here right now. Okay, because yeah, as of right now, this was the other problem was that Comcast now has a position of power over Disney. Right. This is the first time that they've had leverage over Disney in a long time.
Just over that Hulu thing, right?
Right, which would basically be what eats up all of their cash. Right?
Yeah.
Or they'd have to fork over a ton of stock to get it, right?
Which they might do.
Which they might, which they don't really want to do, right?
Well, no company wants to do that, man. So you hang out in your stock so that you can actually fund operations.
Absolutely.
And invest in other shit. But hey, man, if they're gonna do an investment in the Hulu, okay, fine. So
Well, it's not even just investment. There's obligation to it. Because
so they are obliged to purchase Comcast portion.
There's part of again. I will get you the whole details.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Stop. Just stop grilling. I'm only giving you the overview that I know because
all right.
I have to get you the stuff here. But ultimately here, it's a huge obligation for them because it was something that was started by 3 companies.
Okay.
Right. So
and they were one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense.
So that's kind of where that's all going.
So Comcast got them a little bit by the short hairs. So on that one, if they want to get bought out of that deal,
they do.
So,
and the other part of this here is they shut down their $2 billion hotel.
Oh, the Star Wars one?
Yep. Shut it down.
Good.
Well, yes. Yeah. They shut it down, and
it's a fucking $6,000 a night, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That was the stupidest vanity project that I've ever heard.
Oh,
of.
absolutely.
So, it was completely Kathleen Kennedy. So
well, and that's the other part of this here is dude,
Indiana Jones is gonna kill her off. So holy fucking shit! I have never seen elements of the internet so freaking mad.
Yeah.
So I mean, mad, like no, Pat, you're gonna read this. We're so mad, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I mean, so here's my thing about Disney.
Well, just the last part.
Sure.
Is all right. The problem is that their prognosis on projects is so bad right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with what you talked about with Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Little Mermaid is in serious trouble, right?
Yeah, I seen that. Although I hear that the actress did a really good job. So in it,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I heard that they people saying all kinds of great things about her, but then the script is fucking terrible. So
and it surprised me. Okay, all I know is that she can sing. That's great, but
that's what I've heard.
She actually can't swim. So that's
that's what CGI is
for. And that's exactly the problem. So the way, one of the ways they gauge this is that this is one that they held out to get into China, right?
Oh, right.
And China, normally this is how they can usually tell how their openings are going to be. Okay, so
not for several years. They haven't had a movie in China in 4 years. So
so that's the thing is their ticket pre-sales are usually a pretty good indicator of how they're going to perform.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And it's not a huge number because it's the pre-sales, right?
Oh, right.
Right. So the last thing that they got out there was so anticipated that for them, like
Yeah.
$270,000 worth of pre-sales is huge because that just shows interest that people want to buy the tickets early.
Yeah.
Okay. Little Mermaid, 13,000, because that's
terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
That's that's an indication of how interested people are. So unless this has
I haven't met a single person who's like, oh, I can't wait to go see that. So not a single one.
Right.
So, and usually, I mean, like, even at the bar, there's a couple people, they go see every animated film, whatever.
Well, and that's the thing.
And then, like, everybody, like, that came on the other day. Well, my wife and I were there. And, like, universally, everybody's just kind of groaned, you know, like, yeah.
And that's where the problem is because, all right, so the low cash situation, right? Their movies have all been tanking.
Sure.
Right? Again, like I talked about this as well, where like Ant-Man 3 lost like $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question about whether Guardians 3 is actually going to break even or whatever. It might make a little something, but not what they wanted. This is
No, of course not. Yeah.
You know, considering this is one of their previous billion-dollar franchises, this is not gonna. It's not even gonna.
Not even close.
Right. And their Pixar stuff, which used to be something worth, you know, guaranteed, their movies have been tanking.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't look like anything that they have is really about to take off. Indiana Jones is
it's
incredibly expensive.
Yeah. It was like $300 million. It's crazy.
Yes.
So.
And people are going to hate it, right?
I mean, that's basically the unanimous consensus. So on that one, look, man, the only thing I'm telling you about Disney is that motherfucker's an iceberg. Icebergs don't break; they melt.
I understand.
So that's all I'm telling you, man. So, like, you know, if you get your hopes up, oh, it's going to break up into pieces.
No. I'm not saying that it's going to break up. This would be like, for me, what I'm trying to drive at here is, Bud Light, Target, Disney. Okay, this is
Disney's gonna have to start running, man.
This is what I'm talking about here. Is I don't think any of those three companies are going to be sunk by this. But what I'm saying here is that this strategy that they've been having for the past 10 years is going to change course hard.
Oh, well, I think it already has. And if you can just take a look at a lot of the other competitors out there who are going to make bank off these three companies. I mean, maybe the Target one, not so much, because Walmart just does Walmart. So, you know, I mean, that thing basically just manufactures money every single month at a crazy pace. So just because it's built to, that's what the thing is built to do. That's why you don't see Walmart ads where they do shit like that. So their thing is always, hey, come in, we got cheap shit and it's really good. So that's business.
Yeah, they haven't even done the like the smiley face thing for years.
Ages.
They haven't had to.
Well, no, that's because what they were doing back when they did that and the rollback pricing and all that stuff was because they were still expanding and getting into markets where they could actually rollback pricing.
Damn, man, that's
So
it's
like one of the most effective campaign ads ever. I mean, advertising campaigns ever. And they would specifically use it to, you know, not just to break into new markets, but to drive competitors out of existing ones. So mainly Target and Kmart.
Yeah.
They got one score on that one victory. You know?
Now, hold on a minute. I hear tale that there are still a few Kmarts.
There are still a few survivors, floating out there on the ocean somewhere. You know, so
they're offshore Kmarts.
Right, offshore Kmarts.
Their only way to stay open is to run in international waters.
Right, put it on an oil rig, yeah.
Yeah, I understand there's a few left, but yeah, it's
yeah, but I mean, so they play it cool. Coors is playing it cool. Coors isn't near the size of Anheuser-Busch, though. So, I mean, that's the other thing you always got to think about is like, all right, who's the big dog in the market? If you take a look at like actual like big box retail stores, Walmart is fucking enormous compared to anybody else that's in it. So everybody say, oh, there's Walmart and Target, and they say, oh, there's a Target right next to every Walmart, and so they assume that every Walmart, you know, that Walmart as a company is about the same, or Target as a company is about the same size as Walmart. It's not even fucking close.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's not even close. It's like fucking, you know, Venus next to Jupiter. Okay? Yeah.
I remember the common way I see this is, what's the name of this? It's the thing where, they take all the boxes and they put
Oh
all
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
squares next to each other by size.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then, yeah.
Those
So
Pareto charts. Yeah.
is that what that's called?
Well, that's one way to do it, but yeah.
But yeah,
Where it's like,
Walmart's here,
yeah,
and like Target is.
yeah.
It's not tiny, but
No,
it's
it's not tiny. So yeah, but it's like it's nationwide chain. You can find them everywhere. Okay, but you know, just in terms of market cap or the amount of sales volume they do, they're not even close to Walmart. So, and I mean, Walmart, the way that they make money is like they sell you something for $1 that they paid 99 cents for, and they just do a shitload of it.
right.
So, you know, it's kind of like Amazon. Amazon's the same way. So, and Coors is a small company compared to fucking Anheuser-Busch. And see, and the thing is, like, all right, so I don't know if that's necessarily true because Molson Coors is pretty big and they do have a lot of brands.
I saw
Um,
this. Yeah, they're not again. They're not
tiny.
tiny, but they're also not InBev.
They're not InBev. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. And then, but then in like Disney, see, the thing with Disney is the thing. All right. So in that market.
Right.
All right. If you're not doing movies with Disney, all right, there's what, like 3 or 4 other studios. So,
Well, there's Patrick. There
but
are
they
tons of other studios, but it's not like that.
they're
There's nobody else out
yeah.
there that can really finance blockbusters like Disney.
Right.
That's
So
the
they bought
difference.
up all the franchise, all the properties, you know, and then basically, if you want to do one of those big, you know, $200 million movies, that's where you're going. You know, it's not like it was back in like 2005 where there was like 5 different places you could go, you know, that could cough up that kind of cash.
Oh, that was the other part. Is Disney Plus is hemorrhaging money.
I've seen that. I've seen that. It's like
Hemorrhaging.
everybody saw what they wanted to see, and then what was it they pulled off of there? They pulled something off.
Willow.
There. They pulled Willow off there. Yeah.
They pulled. They were so proud of that.
I had one. There's one guy at the bar who really likes Willow. So, and he's like, and it's like, is it good? He's like, no, it's just I've always liked that stuff.
Right.
And it's like, that's awesome, man. Okay, so there's one of you. You know?
But yeah, they actually
So,
they
yeah.
vacated a ton of shit there too.
Yeah.
But
So-
yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Media is a weird one, man. I think it's, you know, it's like when we're doing this in 3 years, it's going to be different than it is now. So something
You
about
know, it's funny, yeah, because when we started this, I don't think they purchased Fox at that point.
I don't think
I
so
mean,
either,
yeah.
man. Yeah. And
Yeah.
So, but it's going to be fucking different, because just the way the proliferation of streaming services, either they're going to have to consolidate, you know, because you just don't have. It's like everything is so balkanized right now. So like if you have this one, you watch that. Okay, but your friend
Yeah.
has this and
Yeah.
watches that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then these guys over here, they have this and they watch that, and you've never heard of that. You know, because that's for, you know, dorks, you know, or something.
No, it's funny
Yeah.
you say that because I'm Paramount Plus because I'm Trek, not Wars.
Right,
And so it's-
exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is, man. So, yeah, and like me, it's like, oh, okay, so I got a year since they delayed Stranger Things before I have to turn my fucking Netflix back on. So, and they sit there, and every month I get a new thing. It's like, hey, Pat, we miss you, buddy. So,
It's so patronizing.
Yeah, I
man.
know.
The only thing that's worse is every now and then when they send you the quote unquote that handwritten card in the mail.
yeah, those are kind of, you know, I remember falling for a couple of those, until I realized it was like, just run your hand
just
over
a
it. It's like,
computer
God damn,
font,
you
yeah.
fuckers.
Yeah,
So this is a
yeah.
pretty cool font, but still, you know, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's like
Yeah.
I don't feel the indent. It's like, you know, if you really cared, I'd see that you wrote it in pencil first,
Right.
drew over it with pen,
With a
and then
ballpoint
erased
pen.
it.
Yeah. So,
Now that would be some shit. That would be some real attempt at like.
dude, I've
you know,
gotten
some
those.
person.
I've gotten those. You know, go by your house, and then they, you know, write that, and it's definitely done in ballpoint pen on the
Yeah.
back. You know, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're not going to buy my house for the price I want for it. So, you know,
Right. You're gonna buy it for the price you want.
right, exactly.
I'm not interested in paying getting.
Yeah, I don't want to give you your
Right.
price.
Yeah.
So,
No, I got you, and that's. I don't want you to get the opinion here that like that I was saying that these things are going to break apart. I don't think that's true at all. I think that
Yeah.
they're such. It's like the analogy you gave me a long time ago, where you said like, well, this is the United States, this is the rest of the world. This is the big truck on the one-way road. If the big truck slows down, everybody else
Everybody
is slowing
slows
around,
down. Yeah.
right? So there's something with these entertainment groups, but I mean that's the thing is there are other markets are also not performing. They're having trouble with their parks. They're having trouble with
They're gonna have to decide what it is that they want to do. So, and I don't think Bob
argue.
Iger is the guy to be doing
No,
that.
the guy that would have been there would have been Bob Chapek because
Well,
he was the parks guy.
yeah, okay. So they decided to go in a different direction. So that means that they hadn't flushed out all those factions in there yet.
Right.
So, either that or
Right.
so a company will run in the same direction when you get all the investors going in the same direction. And so if they were giving Bob Iger shit on that call, and these are JP Morgan, Chase, Goldman Sachs guys, if the guy is on from CalPERS is on there, and that's the California pension, so they're in fucking trouble.
Right.
So
right.
because those are the people that it's like one of the biggest investment firms in the fucking world. And they don't show up on those calls unless they're actually thinking about getting out because they actually have like requirements of what kind of things they can invest in. So,
Well, that was where they talked about
Yeah.
with some of the stock downgradings.
absolutely.
That's why that's been kind of a concern. Is I think Disney and AB InBev, those both got pushed to hold.
Yeah, I mean, well, AB InBev and like all those are those are like staple stocks. I mean, you buy
Yeah.
those. Those are great stocks that you want to buy when the economy's going to shit because people still drink beer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but Disney was always kind of like this, potential growth stock, especially when they're buying all these properties. I bought some, like 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I made quite a bit of money off it, but I got rid of it last year. I was like, I'm out. So this place is not good. So you guys too big, you don't know what you're doing. So you get involved. Anytime you see a company start to get involved in politics, it's bad. So
Well,
it's just bad.
I think it's finally starting to turn around. The problem here, right? This is the same thing that we saw a while back, right? This is the same thing that we saw around the same time that some asshole in California convinced his friends. He went to them and he took his book out and he said, "Guys, I need you to look. This is a what?" It's like, I learned a new word. It's called intersectionality, right? And I need you guys to think about what we're doing here. And a bunch of people started throwing this around like it was gospel, and a lot of companies started acting on this. I'm not saying this is how it went down, but this was the same point where there were capitulations. The capitulations to say, oh, this person said this, he's gone. Oh, okay, this happened in the show,
sure. Yeah.
they're gone. And the thing is, when you see the flip side of it coming around, where it's like, oh, you pissed off the Bud customers. Okay, well, she's gone,
We
gone.
write your checks. So,
And let's put camo on the cans again.
Right. Yeah.
Camo and country music.
Camo and country music.
Right.
Clydesdale's back on the TV.
Right.
Yeah, which
And-
they retired like 3 or 4 years ago.
I don't know.
So yeah,
But, that's the same thing where,
the Bud Bowl's gonna be back, baby. So
I
actually,
did too.
no,
It's
I
fun.
said it
I
was
was
gonna be
just-
the Bud Knight. The Bud
Yeah.
Knight's coming back.
Yeah,
He's gonna be
that's
wearing
just-
camo now, man. Digital pattern.
dude, I'm all for it. Okay, I again, like you asked me what I'd do, I would have that dude go down on like bent knee and plead with the audience. But that's sort of the thing is Target, I mean, they acquiesced, right? They put their shit out there on Front Street, they acquiesced. So anyway, the thing is they've actually the call on this is where you don't want this to become a term, but it already has. The call from Target that they had with the store owners was, we don't want this to be a quote unquote Bud Light situation.
Oh, see, you minted a coin there. So yeah,
That's the thing. So this is, are we going to see this? If I were going to say anything, I would say yes.
yeah. I guarantee you, there's a lot of companies out there have had that call in the last couple of weeks, and they're like, no. So just back away, get out of that. We make money here. That's what we do. So
Right.
make money, provide products, take care of our employees. That's what organizations do, man. So, or at least commercial organizations do. So,
In theory. Right?
Most of them do.
If you're a small company,
Most of
look,
them do.
here's the thing. Any company that, I don't have a problem with this. Any company that actually says, look, we have a guiding star on this. This is what we believe. This is what we're going to do. I have zero compunction with that because that's who you are.
well, that's Chick-fil-A. I mean, you build your brand around that. That's fine. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, same kind of shit. It's
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, so the thing that's different about Hobby Lobby in some respects is they got kind of dragged into it by, because they had some lunatics on their corporate board. So, well, yeah, they were buying all the shit out of Iraq and like reappropriating it to build their Bible museum. So, and using their profits. You don't know that whole story? Oh, it's fucking hilarious. So,
I was just talking about the Supreme Court case and the whether or not that they have to provide.
oh yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
So, but one of the reasons why Hobby Lobby got dragged into that is because their owners were kind of like the My Pillow guy. So you get a little bit of juice behind you in terms of business oomph. Then you start thinking, well, running business is for losers. I'm going to get into politics. So their thing was archaeology. And so,
yeah,
when we're over there kicking the shit out of Iraq and, tearing things up and stuff, they're following behind the armies, picking up like antiquities and quote unquote conserving them and then bringing them back to the United States to build a Bible museum. You didn't know this? Oh, it's
not.
Oh,
this isn't the fucking like the place where they built like the theme park with the.
It's kind of like, it's not the Ark one, but it's kind of like
so
that.
it's kind of like
it's
that.
Not
but
the
it's
one
not...
where Jesus is riding dinosaurs, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if he's riding dinosaurs, but it's
dinosaurs are in there somewhere. Yeah, and they're all
like
friendly.
Yeah.
So, but there wasn't room for them on the Ark. But anyway, so I don't want to get into theology.
Yeah.
Today,
Okay.
but
Yeah. Fine.
So no. Anyway, they do all this stuff, and then So then after things settle down a little bit in Iraq, they start looking for some. They say, "Where the fuck did they all go?" And they're like, "You have to give those back." And they fought about it. Because they're like, just like any kind of artifacts that come from that face of the planet, that neighborhood over there.
Yeah.
There's like 5 different religions that can claim dibs on them. So that's kind of what happened. And so it's the same thing with like you get a lot of entrepreneurs who get really rich. They build like 4 or 5 car dealerships or a humongous furniture chain or something like that, and then all of a sudden they get really interested in Israel.
Well, that's also sort of like
a thing.
Yeah, no, actually, there's shades of like Mel Gibson in there too.
There is
where
a little bit.
It's like
any left in there.
I think so. Yeah, he's like, so I'm upset with Jews. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a movie about Jesus.
Right. Yeah, I know. So you get these pet projects going on.
Yeah.
And you get away from the things that because you didn't spend 30 years fucking working on that. So
no, you
spent 30 years building a business, and now all of a sudden you're going to go Indiana Jones out there, huh? So you're going to suck at this.
That would be to say when Indiana Jones was cool. No,
yeah, sorry.
See, the piece of that is there are people who do that, and it's small scale. Like you'll see that there are people within the company or like the top guys that. You'll also say like it's like the Tom Hanks thing. It's like, what are you into? It's like classic typewriters, right?
Right. Yeah,
There's this thing that they're into, but they're not of that. They're not.
Right.
It's not the company thing where
right.
We're not Chick-fil-A and preserving.
That's what I do with my money.
Yeah. Right.
So the Hobby Lobby problem was that it's actually a privately owned company. So so you have very opaque finances when you're a privately owned company, and so if I'm the owner and I say, hey. Get me $3 million out of petty cash so I can go buy like Hammurabi's, tome or something like that,
Sure.
So then, your accountant says, yes, sir, it's your company. So off you go, Whereas like Disney, the reason why they have those calls is because the investors can rake the dude over the coals.
Yes.
If he lies on that call, it's his ass. I mean, bad.
Yeah.
So, and I've listened to some over the years that were just delicious. Okay. Because those guys, if you run a desk for JP Morgan Chase and, fucking Disney is in your portfolio.
Yeah.
You are entitled to ask questions and you expect an honest answer. And if you find out later that you got the wrong answer or that guy lied to you, you can sue the fuck out of him personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not only can you go after the company, you can go after the guy at that point in time. And very few CEOs, spend $30 million on a yacht just to have it take it back to New York and get chained up in the harbor.
Yeah, exactly. Just like strip for parts. Yeah.
Right. So.
No, I understand that. Yeah, and that's the danger of it. One other thing, it's funny that you talked about the I did not know about the collection of the religious artifacts. It's funny because I just did a show about the lighthouse at Alexandria.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. It's fascinating. It's like I know a little bit about this, but
Sure.
this had a lot to do with like the construction and things like that. And there was one little part of it that kind of made me laugh with exactly what you're talking about. Was they were talking about, well, why do you need one of these that's so big? Or like, well, you can see it from a long ways. It's not really what a lighthouse needs to be, but it's cool. They went into construction. They said, all right, check this out. This is how they would actually put lead in between here, which is why it could survive an 8.0 earthquake.
Right.
Like, all right, that's also
pretty clever.
cool. Yeah, very clever, right?
Yeah.
And there's this dude testing it. He's rocking the shit out of it. They're like, and you can't use the really available stuff. You can't use sandstone and limestone because once you get it to this point, it will crumble on itself. So this thing is all made, like up to here, it's made of granite. And it's like, and this shit's heavy.
Yeah.
But that is the only way that it wouldn't fall apart on itself. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. It's like, and when you get into this harbor, right? The way that it would lead people into the harbor is you'd have the lighthouse, right? But then you would also have a series of obelisks that you would basically target you away from the reefs. So if you basically point between here, you're going to get in without.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then they talked
That's
about.
pretty cool.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
And then they showed a picture of the obelisk and they say, yeah, there's still 2 of them left, right? And they say they're in London in the United States.
Right. Yeah.
And
Why
I
wouldn't
was
they
like,
be? Yeah.
I was like, not in Egypt.
I guarantee you, there's one in the British Museum. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So there's one in DC and there's one in.
Oh, is it? I was thinking the Met for sure. So
Yeah.
they like to abscond with other people's shit too.
They do, and
Yeah.
that was what was funny about it. Is they're like, this is, so that's what these Egyptians would do is they would use these obelisks as these like guide stones. They said we have 2 of them left. One's in the United States and one's in Britain. I'm like, but not in Egypt, huh?
Well, maybe they can get Disney to give that back. You know. So.
I don't know if it's there.
Yeah. Oh no, that was Netflix. The Netflix owes them an obelisk. You know?
Oh, you're talking about the Cleopatra
yeah.
boondoggle.
Oh my god, it's so funny. So I watched that for the last 2 days on my phone. So it's just
The show?
Oh no, God no.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
okay,
just
okay.
People, yeah, like universally getting mad about that, especially from the international press. And it's great when Reuters reports something about riots in streets about, you know, they're trying to keep it really, really neutral. So it just doesn't work.
Reuters tries, man.
Reuters
they
does try.
do their best. Fucking Washington Post doesn't.
That rag is.
That is.
I am. I subscribed to them for years, man. I cannot. I can't even click on their articles anymore. So because immediately I'm gonna get teed up with something in the first paragraph. So where it's like you're teeing me up to tell me what to think. The New York Times is almost as bad. So I love the Wall Street Journal, man, and even them sometimes. I mean, so that publication and I share a distinct pro-business slant. So
it intersects with politics only where business is concerned.
only where business is concerned, but I can also tell when I'm being teed up of like
fucking rope-a-dope,
why this fucking country went to shit in 2016, and it would have
Yeah.
been so much better if Mitt Romney had won. I'm like, that's a decade ago, guys. So you need to give that up, man. So you know, I mean, and I stay away from their opinion pages because they let all kinds of people write opinions for them, man. So I mean, fucking Joe Biden does opinion pieces for him from time to time. So it's crazy. So.
Yeah, but that's something. I mean, that's something traditional, right? Doesn't that go all the way back to like fucking like Eleanor Roosevelt days?
It's a
and
long
stuff?
time. Yeah. So no, they have politicians, and basically, so politicians will write opinion pieces in the or op-eds in the Wall Street Journal. Basically, talk to Wall Street. So you know, so you know that whatever's there, it's not for you because you don't wear a blue jacket and you know walk around the ticker tape every single day. So, but at the same point in time, you know, it's like, okay, so, you know, you guys are actually going to be a little bit more level in these things than what I get out of the fucking New York Times where somebody has some screed about, like, you know, whatever the pet project is of the day. So, and why the other side is full of Nazis. So, yeah.
But at the same time, your alternative is the Post, and you have
I
to.
can't do it.
Well, if you can accept how retarded the post is, because it is, you know it is.
Yeah.
It's like they don't even like every one of their headlines is a pun. I mean, that's the thing. Regardless of the
They're
the
not
gravity
even
of the
funny, man.
situation.
At least the New York Post does things that are funny every now and then. So, or is that...
No, the New York Post.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I thought you were talking about the Washington Post.
The Washington Post is just they are who they are, and like
They are.
regardless of the situation. Like, so fucking if Ron DeSantis, like, tomorrow managed to get a unanimous vote of all of his representatives, and he said, I have passed a law, I have signed into law a day that guarantees that every single Floridian is guaranteed free, clean air for life. The Washington Post would find that fascist, right?
Yeah.
They would find some universal thing to say, like, you're a horrible person, right? Like, free air? Like, you're saying that we can't ever charge for this? Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, that would be what they would do. Especially,
He's supposed to announce that he was running for
Yeah, he did.
president this week.
He did
Oh, he
today.
did?
yeah, today.
Oh, okay. I didn't
On
see
Twitter.
that. On Twitter?
Yeah, with
With
Elon
just
Musk.
like 140 character I'm running.
No, it was a video. He didn't fucking tweet that.
Well, that's what I thought.
Well, yeah, that's
what you did on it.
That's what I would do, right?
Yeah, me too.
That's the version I'd say, like, running for president. Okay, thanks, bye. Right? That
Well,
would be-
yeah, that's what I thought he was gonna do if he said on Twitter.
No,
So,
it was
they had a
it was hosted on Spaces, so it was on video, so he did it there. But yeah, that's the WAPO. But the New York Post is the one where, yes, they are diehard fucking rightists. Yes, they are ridiculous. in
Yeah,
some
but they're New
ways.
York Republicans. That's a different kind of breed.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. Right?
that's a different kind of breed.
It's a different kind of breed that I get why you're doing what you do, because you feel like you're being hunted for sport.
You're right.
And when you
are homeless, man.
And when-
Yeah.
and when you have any kind of megaphone and you are constantly being berated, like, it's like when you go to, like, what sports teams have the worst fans? Well,
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
teams that never win.
Right.
So when you actually win, when you're in the playoffs, right?
Terrible winners.
Terrible winners.
You tear up
Terrible.
your own stadium.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
You're destroying your own city and joy, right?
Right.
And but it's not joy. It's anger. You're getting out like 24 years of Cleveland anger, even though you won.
Well, yeah, because you guys aren't being shown the exits. So yeah.
Right. So that's the New York Post, right? It's a shit paper, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Those are your only options in that city.
Yeah. No, I clearly have my preference. So.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
the source of that. So yeah, that's been the big news, except for like small changes. I think Russia made some pretty significant gains.
I've
Ukraine.
been watching that exceptionally closely.
What? Okay, so that's just like the closer. What did I miss?
So, they are actually disputing right now whether or not the fight in Bakhmut is actually over. So, the psychopath who runs a platoon of psychopaths,
What, the Azog?
they're no, not those. Those guys basically are dead. So they all got murdered last fall. So
They're pretty shitty human beings.
well, I get that, man, but you don't have to worry about them anymore because
Right.
they got chewed up on the front lines. So no, I'm talking about the one of many mercenary groups that Vladimir Putin has hired,
right.
which basically allows him to get away with fucking war crimes. Dead serious, man. There's disgusting stuff you can find out there. So absolutely horrifying. I have changed as a human being over the last couple of weeks.
Jesus Christ.
Getting into some of this stuff.
What happened?
I don't know, man. I saw some things that I cannot unsee. So I went to parts of the internet where I don't belong. So, but anyway,
Oh shit! I feel like I would have seen you there. Yeah, just say hi.
I no, man. I'm the guy with this coat. Things full. I was like, I'm just here for that. I'm not shopping. So I know exactly what I want. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I know, because I was like, "Whoa, Pat, man, this drone is about to drop this grenade on this guy." But yeah, if
Oh,
you got,
it gets much worse than that.
well,
It
no,
gets
this is
fucking way
yeah.
worse than that. Yeah.
But I know
So
if you go in there like for research or whatever, and you got the fucking hat pulled down low, then I understand.
yeah, no, definitely. So I'm trying to blend in with the crowd.
Yeah.
I am not of you people. Yeah.
That's my line.
Yeah, no, I can see how it works, man, but fortunately I haven't been accosted too much. So, but anyway, so they've been having this like 8 month fight over this town.
Yeah.
So yeah, which is basically fucking World War One version 2. So
Right.
and it's just absolutely horrifying. And so the Russians, well, not the Russian army, these fucking psychopaths, which are basically former convicts and basically war boys, who come from all over the world and want
God,
to.
man, it sounds like the French Foreign Legion from back in
It
the
is,
day.
but it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, that French Foreign Legion is still a thing. So,
No, but from back in the day, like when it was.
oh yeah, cutthroats and fucking
Yeah.
gambling and like
Yeah.
harems and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently it is kind of like that. But anyway, so apparently they were actually able to push them out, but so what Ukraine's what the army did was basically kind of like just hang on to that and try and bleed these guys out, and they left. Okay, and then they attacked above and below the city, north and south of the city, and pushed the Russians back there. And right now they're trying to trap those fucking guys in there, but
Oh.
it's too hard fighting, man. This is like Stalingrad. So I mean, not that pretty bloody, but not that bloody. So but I mean, I saw this terrible compilation of the before and after like satellite pictures of the town the other day. It is fucking Stalingrad. It is down. It is scraped down the sidewalks.
It's a
man.
mountain of garbage.
It's a mountain of garbage.
Yeah.
So, and there are a ton of cities in Ukraine that are like that now. Yeah. So, but now everybody's anticipating the upcoming Ukrainian offense. So, which may be a real thing, may not be a real thing. So they surprised the fuck out of everybody last year. So who knows?
Well, I mean, at this point, we've seen exactly like what we didn't predict. Okay, this is where when I think about when you and I first started talking about this, and frankly, we could probably pull up the records because I think the week it happened, right?
Oh yeah.
Is recorded on here. I don't think what either of us predicted was basically trench warfare.
Oh no, never.
I don't
Yeah.
think there was any suggestion of that.
No, I never would have thought it'd turn into an artillery war. It's completely an artillery war.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely nutso. So, although it has moments where it moves. So, like, there was a commando raid into Russia the other day. So that actually did happen. So,
did they get anything?
no, and actually, it's really interesting because, well, Zelensky and his guys claim this, and I mean, from everything I can tell, it's basically true. Is that there's actually Russian separatists who have defected and are now fighting for Ukraine under this, free Russia banner. And they decided to do a little test to see if they could get across the border, and they did. And then they left. So, yeah. And so it's like, well, he was basically saying, he's like, well, fuck you. If you're going to use partisan warfare, so are we. And so we got tons of guys over here who want you the fuck out, and a lot of them are Russian. So get the fuck out, And so yeah, it's just the whole thing's getting really ugly. And so
God damn, man,
it's ugly, man. It's bad. And so there's like all these. There's a couple databases out there where you can actually go into, and they do a really good job of taking pictures of just about every like armored vehicle that's been destroyed from multiple angles so they can get accurate counts. It's thousands of them. So, and then the same thing's true with like the casualty figures. The ones that were actually reported in the Pentagon leaks, they look pretty fucking accurate. So, which is not good. It means that they're up to almost 500,000 dead at this point in time on both sides. Well, between the two sides. So, and it's just, they're not taking prisoners anymore, so they're shooting each other on sight. So sometimes they'll let them go. They got videos of dudes surrendering to drones out there. So where Russian guys are just throwing their weapons down because they don't have any fucking ammo. So And the
Oh my
Ukrainians
God,
sometimes
that's so
they'll
fucking.
say like, "All right, come on over," and they'll like waggle the wings on the drone, and the guy will come out of the trench, and they'll come get him. Other times they just drop a grenade on him. So it's gotten that ugly, man. So yeah, it's not good. And what it means is it's not going to end. It's not going to end. It's not going to end anytime soon, man. So yeah.
I think that's the first prediction on this that we've had that has any likelihood of coming true at this
Yeah,
point.
unfortunately.
Where it devolves to or what it becomes, because it's just crazy when you say that, when you say it because they don't have any ammo.
Apparently,
That's old school shit. That is.
well, not all of it, but like Russia. Well, I mean, you like, yeah,
Yes,
this is like army
yes,
stuff 101.
yes.
The Russians cannot do it. So their army is so corrupt. It is so ridiculously corrupt. It makes the Ukrainians look like fucking, like like,
I'm gonna say choir boys, but
well, yeah, like the UN, well, something that would be extremely like above board and completely transparent. So, and there's evidence to that okay, so Europe has given them mountains of ammunition, so, and tons of stuff that they can use, because Europe's basically saying like, all right, well, we got to rebuild our armies, so you can have all our old shit, so because we're gonna build new shit. So like even the Germans giving up crazy amounts of stuff, so to them, and the Poles, Poland. Here's something that should make you a little bit proud. You know who actually has like the best battle tank on the face of the planet besides ours?
is it Poland?
No, it's Korea. It's South Korea.
Oh,
The Polish went over there and bought 600 of those motherfuckers.
oh,
Yeah. So there you go. So, and the South Koreans, they're like so proud of their tank. They say, "Tell you what, we're going to build you a factory in Poland too, and you guys can use that to make more tanks." So I'm like, fucking sweet. So, and they said, "Well, all these other tanks we got, we can give those to Ukraine now." But apparently, they make a truly badass battle tank. So, which I didn't know before. So,
I thought that was largely because I thought for the United States, I thought for the largest part, I thought they were kind of phasing out of that because they said that there's just not a whole lot of circumstances where they're going to need them or use them.
So it depends on what you're talking. So the Marine Corps did give up all its tanks. So the Marine Corps said, we're not that kind of fighting force anymore. So our fight's going to be in the Pacific. And so we don't need tanks over there. So the Army has doubled down on its tanks. So
But they would.
they would.
There's a certain amount of tradition that they have to hold on to regardless.
Sure, but the other thing is like we were supposed to give Ukraine like it's not very many. It's like 2 platoons of Abrams, but they're actually manufacturing those from scratch. And the reason why they're doing that is because our tanks still have classified armor that we will not give to anybody.
No, we won't.
We will not.
That I know. Yes, that I do.
It still has classified armor. Because I saw that, and I was thinking the same thing, because we got like 3,500 of those motherfuckers in storage. A lot. And I was like, we can send 50, And the answer is no, we can't, because they all have that fucking classified armor.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so they're manufacturing 30 some of them from scratch. So they can send those. So we sent them a shitload of old school Bradleys. So it's like, fine. We don't really use them. So right now. And now they're going to send them F-16s. So, which will be fascinating. So we will not send them F-35s. So.
And we shouldn't.
Probably not. We do give a lot of those we sell a lot of those to other people.
We do.
So, but they are definitely for the big war. So the F-16s, they're not even going to come from the United States. They're going to come from Belgium. So,
yeah.
And Spain, if I'm not mistaken. So, but that's what Europe's doing. Europe's taking everything, all their old shit. And they're like, we all have to build brand new armies, and they're all doing it right now. So, like, even Germany, of all places, was like, guess what? We were actually going to, like, abolish our army 3 years ago. And now they're like, no, we're going to quadruple the budget in 1 year.
Yeah,
and this Navy, we don't need a Navy. And so we're going to get rid of our Navy. We're just going to have an army. So...
No, there's a memo that goes out that yeah, it always starts with the same thing. In light of recent events.
Yeah. Well, the Russians scared the shit out of everybody in Europe, so.
Well, again, with the Polish people I've had, that's what they say is like the one thing that we're afraid of is are we next?
Poland should not be afraid of Russia. If Russia attacked Poland, Poland would be in Moscow. So,
Well,
their army is. So that's the whole thing. This whole thing where like now Finland and Sweden, Finland's got like the biggest goddamn army in Europe. So it's enormous because everybody there serves just like Israel. So it's absolutely fucking enormous. They can turn it into like nothing, and then in 2 weeks it's humongous and marching towards Moscow. So, and the same thing's true. Poland has ever since, like, they were like one of the first ones. We want in NATO right now. So, because those guys have always had it out for us. So, and they're right. But ever since then, yeah, and they're right. But ever since then,
guys, we took it in the shorts twice.
They have built an enormous army that is extremely professional. So, and they've done all the things. They were in Afghanistan. They've gone on all the. They've tried to pick up XP everywhere. So they volunteered to grind. Yeah, I know they've been grinding for years, man. So and that's the whole thing. Is like it's like, well, you should probably consider kicking Poland out of NATO. So because they're just looking for an excuse now. So.
Well, they said that's they told me it was like there's a legitimate fear about that. And yeah, I suppose that it could turn retaliatory or I don't know, offensive fairly quickly.
Well, see, that's the thing that everybody gets wrong about NATO. There's no chance that NATO goes offensive on Russia.
No way.
There's no way.
That would happen.
No, it can't happen. You got to get 31 members to agree on that. There's no fucking way.
Is if that were ever going to happen, it would have happened a long time ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That would have happened in like the first week because you're like, well, we have to intervene.
Yeah, but they can't do that because the only thing that the charter actually covers is defensive actions. Yeah. And in order to actually invoke Article 5, everybody has to agree. And so the whole narrative about this is going to turn to World War III, and well, actually Putin's narrative is, well, NATO's against us. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but read the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, they can't do anything about it unless you do something. So, and then he goes and he does something. So everybody's like, oh, it's going to turn to World. It's not going to turn to World War III. It's just going to be really bad for Ukraine. So, and really bad for Russia.
Yeah, bad for Russia, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking young men who are like, I mean, a lot that, a lot of them are never coming back. I mean, think about it. We were in Iraq and Afghanistan for 20 years.
Yeah.
And we lost 5,000 guys amongst the two of them.
Yeah.
Dude, they've had days where they lost that many.
Yeah.
This is nuts, man. So, absolutely bananas. And, you and I are going to see the fallout for this for the next 10 years. So,
Well, and you know what? That's something to legitimately be concerned about.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Because after things like this, and when you see how do people redevelop here? I mean, I would argue that when it's all said and done, and I have no idea how it's going to play out. I don't either. I guess my argument is that when it's all said and done, Ukraine is clearly on the better side of this because, even if they have to concede certain things or whatever, however it goes, I don't know.
I don't think they're going to now, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is they're kind of entrenched in this. But if they have to end up conceding something to, have this come to an end, what I can say there is that once that's all done, I guarantee you that Ukraine will be flooded with basically people who's like, look, actually, yeah, we'll go ahead and help you clean this place up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shit, right? Yeah, no, people especially from Europe. Yeah,
yeah, they're going to go in there and they're going to clean that place up, and basically it'll be like a post-war situation on a world effort. I guarantee you we'll be there too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're there right now, man.
Yeah,
we bankroll so much of what they've got going on.
Yeah,
actually the best thing that we do for them is like, hey, we got these satellites. So yeah, just call us when you want to know what's going on.
Right.
We'll fill you in. He's like, yeah, they're all down at the gas station getting donuts right now.
Yeah, and then afterwards, they're going to go in there and lay a whole bunch of like fiber optic lines and all that other shit.
Yeah, sure.
So it's going to be okay for them on an infrastructure level.
I hope so, man.
And I guarantee you, people are going to go in there with business interests as well.
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Russia will not get that same support.
No. In fact, if anything, So yeah, I haven't heard anybody like reliably, make a call on this one. But I mean, other than the people who just want it to end for fucking political reasons because of the election or something like that, it's like
Blah,
shut the fuck
blah,
up. It has
blah.
nothing to do with
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah.
So but the thing is, like when I did a deep dive on this last 2 weeks, it's just gotten uglier in the last 2 weeks, man. And so. If you went to Zelensky now or anybody, I mean, if he gets fucking droned tomorrow, there's another guy right behind him who's going to be just as like pissed off. So
Maybe even more.
maybe
so.
even more so
Because his guy just
yeah,
got
because you
droned.
just killed our guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I think like if Russia says, hey, we'll stop this if you guys do this and this, I think they're going to get a big fat fuck off. So and it's like you can have it over when we're all dead. Kind of thing. And that is just not good, man. Because like, there's a lot of wars that kind of went that way, and none of them turned out well.
So that's that.
That's that.
Okay.
Yeah. They're still at the gas station.
There you go.
But I live here. I live here.
You do, and this isn't quite a lot of keys on the keychain in the Tumblr situation where it's not my problem, because in a little ways it is,
Right.
but it's pretty close to it.
Yeah, it's definitely not my fight. We'll put it that way.
I have other shit to worry about.
I have
first.
other shit to worry
Yeah.
about too.
Yeah.
So I'm more than happy to I don't care if you send my $4 and $8 to you guys rather than Saudi Arabia. In fact, I prefer that. But I ain't gonna bitch about it either. So here we go.
There you go.
All right, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Okay.